Coach, nice to see you. Thanks for having us. Any update on Chad and Rodney now practicing today?
Well, Chad was, I'm going to call it neck stiffness. He had it Friday, and then over the weekend, I mean, he's day to day. Rodney is out for at least probably a month.
Any further details of that?
Just shoulder injury. It's probably been, say, a week.
Thanks, Coach. Sky Liam, USCBasketball.com. Players played a lot of heavy minutes last season. Would you like to expand the rotation this year, and how deep do you see the rotation going?
Yeah, good question. I think, any time that you can go deeper, it's always a good thing. It always, it's going to depend. The Loyola Marymount exhibition game will give us a chance to, evaluate. At Grand Canyon, same thing. So I right now it's the good thing is when you do have players out, which obviously, today without Alijah, without Rodney, and without, Chad, that's a big part of our nucleus, but it gives other players an opportunity in practice to showcase what they can do, So I think that we're starting to see some clearly defined roles that could happen, but obviously, in games it kind of, then it changes based on productivity.
Hi, Haley Sawyer, OC Register. A couple of NBA scouts out today for the pro day. Are you able to tell us how many were represented today and what you wanted the guys to get out of today's experience?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a true pro day like we've had in the past where we, actively, promote it with NBA teams. It was more, I think we had 7, Haley, to answer that question. But it was more just, hey, we wanted to open the doors to you guys knowing that we were going to have some other people in the gym, so we felt like it's a good opportunity. And we left practice. That was like our normal structure. In a true pro day, we would, do pro testing, and we would test them like they do at the combine and pass all those out to everybody. But with the injuries and this wasn't it was more just, hey, there's pro scouts here today.
With it being Mia Satterfield, Bradley Annenberg Media, nice to see you again. With it being about a week with full practices going on, what have you noticed about the team? Have there been any points of emphasis that you've been trying to drill in them this past week, and what are you kind of proud of or for them to improve? Yeah,
I mean, right now it's just a matter of, we basically stuck with 2 defensive coverages, and now we've added a third. And then we'll get to a 4th later in the week. So now it's just kind of about adding some things that we didn't get, to put in over those 8 weeks in the summer, and it's also now it's super important to stay healthy. Not sure what it is, but across college basketball, I mean we have way too long of an off season, which hopefully it'll be addressed. Whether it's some type of competition in the summer eventually, probably not next year, but eventually some of our rules probably need to be looked at, because it's a long stretch, and we don't practice when our season ends. There are some teams that that take a week off or whatever, and then they start doing stuff even before the school year ends, and we don't do that at all. We give them off from the time we are done playing until the start of summer school. But there needs to be either more exhibition games in October or some type of summer type event, because just all the practices and prevent injuries is like, we're all just trying to get to the start of November as healthy as we can be.
Hi, Coach. Hi, I'm Adriana with Annenberg Media. throughout the season, you kind of had some new roster changes. How has that affected how you're emphasizing team chemistry and execution so far?
Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of team chemistry stuff. I mean, even today before practice, we got a little competition going on that when you're with a teammate outside this building, take a picture, send it to the strength coach. The coaching staff's going to do the same thing. Practicing at Venice Beach is not necessarily about basketball. It's to, get out in the community. It's for our players that aren't from here to be able to get out, see other parts of LA. We do a little get-to-know segment after each practice. We started off with all the players, then it went to staff. Now we're on our team manager so that everybody knows each other. We'll do a 4-H thing once we get into, kind of talk about your heroes and some other unique things to get to know each other. So I think, we've really tried to emphasize that type of stuff as much as possible, which we'll continue to try to do.
Hi, Coach. You said Rodney's out for 4 weeks. Does that mean 4 weeks from now or 4 weeks from a week ago?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put an exact date, Rich, because it's going to depend on, the healing process. So I would say 4 weeks from when it happened, which may mean another 3 weeks, but I mean, he's going to get evaluated again today. So, I mean, he's going to get evaluated every week on his range of, mobility on the shoulder, pain tolerance, all those type of things.
One other question. I'm curious as to why you decided to have both of the exhibitions be away games of mid-major teams.
Well, I think, the first thing is playing in a road environment that you think is super tough. And Grand Canyon, it's well documented, is probably as tough a place to play. And then you add in the fact, all right, well, it's going to be an exhibition game, so who can draw for an exhibition game? Grand Canyon. So we already know what their student section's like. I mean, we played them at the Suns Arena when I was at Nevada, and I think our players were, like, wow, this is for real. And so playing in the road environment, and then I thought it was strategic. People that live in the South Bay, playing at LMU gives them an opportunity to come see us and not have to, travel or be in traffic. And that was a little bit of it as well. There's plenty of games here. Why would we want to play another home game, here? Didn't make much sense to me with it being football season. We understand the excitement with football. And so we're playing, we have the opportunity to play 2 games in October. Why not go on the road? And, Stan Johnson's a friend of mine. And so all those reasons are why.
Quick follow-up. You're playing the game at LMU on the same day as the Notre Dame game. Do you really expect SC fans to come?
Well, I don't know if the times are going to, overlap or not unless someone knows. I don't know the time of the Notre Dame game unless you guys do. I'd love to.
It is 7:30 there, so 4:30 our time.
Okay, well, hopefully we won't play at that time, but if we do, we do. I don't even know. Is the game time scheduled for us? I don't think we've scheduled a time, but
Thank you.
yeah. But certainly, we got to play. I mean, everybody's trying to figure out. We didn't play on a home football game day.
With Rodney's injury, that of course will open up more time for Jordan at the point guard. But it seems like he's been doing a really good job even with Rodney out there. How do you envision both of those guys playing when they're healthy? And is Jordan Marsh this team's starting point guard?
Yeah, I think it's way too early, to say who the starters are. But Jordan's been I feel super comfortable with him. I think we have a really good rapport with one another. He plays at the pace that we want. And last year, Rodney playing with Gillespie, I mean, Rodney was basically a 2-guard, but we feel like a big part of his development is to also get some time over there. As you kind of look at the future for Rodney, it's important for him to get reps in game at that position, which he will. But Jordan's, I would say, he's been as pleasant of surprise as you know, the assistants did a really good job. The guys that were kind of assigned to Jordan of watching film and evaluating him, because we had a group of probably 6 to 8 point guards that were kind of all lumped together, and you know, some of the guys on staff really, you know, felt like Jordan was the guy. And then when I tried to look at that group of 8 guys, I kind of felt like he was definitely a difference maker, as opposed to the other guys that we were kind of recruiting at that spot. But he's been great for us. He really has.
Coach, nice to see you again. Jessica Silva from Annenberg Media. I just had a quick question circling back to what you were mentioning earlier, kind of about more than basketball. As you guys were on Friday, you were at Venice, as you were talking with, I think it was one of the new recruits, you know, you guys are very much paying attention to people, and, you know, you want to make sure that, you know, there is good camaraderie on the team. How does that camaraderie translate into the gameplay, and how have you seen them grow as a team through these team building events and community involvement?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've seen really incredible growth, because basically you're putting together a group of guys that have never played together, didn't even know each other really, but they're Ezra had all the guys out to his house last week, and they FaceTime me, and you know, they're making a conscious effort, I believe, to try to get to know each other. And I think, you know, the better connected you are off the floor, you know, should translate on the court. But I'm old enough to know that there's been a lot of great teams that have won world championships that maybe didn't get along, you know, off the floor. They kind of went their own separate ways. The old Oakland A's were, you know, one example of, you know, but this group is, you know, we want them to, this is college, so we want them to get along. We want them to have a great time outside of our building, and then to have fun inside the building. And probably the only way to do that is through really understanding who your teammate is as a person and as a player.
Last question.
Sky again from USCBasketball.com. What have you seen in the development of Jerry Easter this summer, and how do you see him in the mix at the 1, along with obviously Rodney and Jordan?
Yep. So Jerry, you know, unlike a lot of freshmen, he has upper body strength, lower body strength, and confidence. You know, as a freshman, sometimes some guys can lack true inner. Jerry's really confident. Like, he believes he's a really good player, like in his mind and in his heart. And he's super strong, like for his age, he's really strong. He's got really good athleticism. And he's, you know, a combo guard, you know, that can kind of play both. And so, you know, we'll have to see how that, you know, the translation of going from, you know, practice to exhibition games to, you know, to then game non-conference, and then once you get into conference play. But, you know, we hope that Jerry's a part of the, you know, the future, not just, you know, the immediate 31 games ahead of us. But he's learned, you know, he's learning a lot of stuff too. I think that with any freshman, it's a big learning curve to play in this system, because of the demands of having to understand what you need to remember from an execution standpoint. So it's a lot different than for a high school guy, what we're running both sides of the ball and what he's probably used to.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Anything else pressing?
Any chance Alijah comes back this year?
I mean, I think that with him, it's just like, I mean, he's over there learning the plays, and I don't know if I've ever been around a player that's, you know, got an extended injury that is like he'll FaceTime you with questions about, you know, why did we do this? What about that? I mean, he's overly engaged. He's definitely going to be a coach for us. I mean, we got him his own clipboard so that he can diagram stuff. I think we just, like right now, just how do we support him, you know, with his rehab process, and you know, I mean, he's hopeful that, you know, at some point in late January that he's back practicing, and but again, that's a long way away, and you can't, you know, so I would never put a timetable on it other than that's his mindset. But he's a super positive guy that, that's hopeful, you know, that maybe at some point, and if not, he wants to help his teammates. I mean, I guess that's kind of the coolest thing.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
these guys coming.